February, I think. Sean's got the Hansard, isn't he? And it's not historic, so it doesn't go back to Harcourt times of 2010, 2009. It's last year. So that's an assurance given by Sanders Road, your predecessor, that it wouldn't go ahead unless it was 180,000 to 200,000 square feet, which I think is about 2 buildings plus, isn't it? I think so. Anyway, my questions are this. The first is to deal with the planning, the whole aspect. And this is very important because you're talking about a building at a time, and we're talking, and I think John will agree with me, we're talking about the whole vision being delivered at once as a mixed development, hopefully anyway. And obviously, you're obviously not going to do that. When we addressed the planning panel, and I think Deputy Truscott was there, and you were on the panel, we spent a good 2 months representing 249 people. Now, this wasn't a petition. This was something we went to see everybody in the area. We went to see as many people as we could. We took a poll. We took our own little referendum, if you like, on the car park over the course of 2 weeks. We were approached by lots and lots of people there who are residents of Castle Key, people who live in the area, work in the offices, and our poll, if you like, our survey came out a little bit higher, and you would expect it to come out a little bit higher than the JP one. It wasn't 86% like the JP. Our poll came out at 94%. 94% of people who live in the area, work in the area, have anything to do with the car park, did not want to see this development go ahead because they all said that it's not what we were promised, it's not what we want. They would talk about Winter Garden, they talked about all sorts of things. In their head, in their vision of the waterfront was something that Senator Cohen had delivered in a speech to the States. And quite a lot of people had been listening to that speech and knew all about it, but not people who didn't know what was going on. These very, very intelligent people, and we represented 249 of them. Now, at the planning panel meeting, which was chaired by, I think it was Constable Galashaw, there was various speakers. I think Sarah Ferguson and John spoke. I certainly spoke, and all this was very, very carefully done. It wasn't just people off the top of their head speaking. They were representing 249 people. And I think you said, Deputy Truscott, that you were looking at each building on its own merit. Therefore, you couldn't really address the 249 people who had put a planning objection into this specific building, which was building number 5. So we had wasted, if you like, the time of 249 people because the planning panel said, no, we cannot deal with this because it's one building and we're not looking at the whole development. I think this should be looked at as a whole development. Are you going to have a development or are you going to have one building? If you're going to have one building like Building 4 and then the other one, Building 1, which is across the way, you're going to bookend it. If you have the second building, I believe would be Building 1, which is the other end of the site. If you have one building one side, one building the other, you're forever marking that area as a no-go area for anything else. You can't put a hospital there, you can't put anything else there. So my question is on that. Is the next tranche of buildings going to be dealt in the same way? Are they going to be dealt as a one-off basis, one at a time? Or can you please have some sort of ministerial meeting where you say, no, we must really, we've got feedback from the public, we must really treat this as a whole development. And the last thing is to do with land. You said your land, you're very, very specific on this, you said your land, it's your land and it's our land. Now, I have difficulties with this one because we all like to think that it's Crown land, and we always like to think that that particular part, like used to be a beach, and we've been dealing with this now for, well, best part of 26 years. SOS is itself 22 years old. I've been dealing with it since I was a boy. I know the area since I was digging bait on it. Now this land, we like to think that all that land was originally Crown land. It's for the benefit of the public, and you're still saying it's your land, our land. I've been trying to get answers from the FRI people on what is the current situation of the land, because there is currently a land transfer going ahead on this land. It's currently owned by the Crown. It will be owned by the public for about a millisecond, after which it will be transferred to the Ports Authority. Now, I've been trying to get some questions answered by the FRI, and they're stalling, they won't do it. They just will not answer this question. So can you please tell us who owns the land, who did own the land, who owns it now, and who will own it when you build your buildings on it. Thank you very much.